we said we were gonna stop. They wanted to see the ruins.
Yeah, but should we wake them up? No, you know what, let's do? On our way back to the airport, we can catch them.
You know we won't.
Yeah, probably won't.
Okay.
Welcome to What the Flick, everybody. Ben Mankiewicz, Alonso Duralde, Christy Lemire. Please check out Christy's defense of The Hangover 3, which we're also posting this. Yeah.
Click and be angry.
Yeah. So this is it's sequel day.
It is.
Right. Well, it's the summer, but this is not a normal sequel.
No, this is Richard Linklater's Before Midnight. It is the presumably the end of the trilogy, if we ever knew it was going to be a trilogy, following Before Sunrise and Before Sunset. We return to the lives of Celine and Jesse, not to be confused with Celine and Julie or Celeste and Jesse, once again played by Julie Delpy and Ethan Hawke. At the end of Before Sunset, Ethan Hawke basically decided to leave his wife and child in America and stay in Paris with Celine. Cut 2 years later, the movie ends. The movie begins at the end of a summer that they've all spent together. Jesse is putting his son back on a plane to America. Feels concerned that he's not there, on a day-to-day basis for the kid. And when he brings that up with Celine, she worries that she's going to be asked to give up her career to go travel to America. They have kids of their own. And like the first two films, the movie is basically a series of very long conversations about life and love and relationships. And it's great. Check it out.
And how did you two meet?
We met about 18 years ago. We kind of, sort of fell in love. And a decade later, we ran into each other.
No. You wrote a book, and I read about it and went to look for it.
Oh, that's pretty romantic.
If we're meeting for the first time today on a train, would you start talking to me? Would you ask me to get off the train with you?
Of course.
What's so great about these films, there's so many things that are great about them, is that they're so tightly scripted, but they feel improvised.
Totally,
They feel so natural.
And long takes that really, you after a while, it just feels like you're watching something unfold spontaneously in front of you.
The scene in the car where they're driving back from the airport is like a 13-minute long take.
Yeah.
And I interviewed Julie Delpy and Ethan Hawke and Richard Linklater just this past week, and they were saying that it's harder to do something like that than it is to do a really, really emotional scene like the last third of the film is a giant argument.
Yeah.
It's very emotional. It's like a 3-act play in and of itself. It's harder to do just stillness and naturalism in the car with the camera on you, they were saying, than like the big fight.
Yeah.
So no, it's amazing, and it kind of lulls you in for a while because you're on this very idyllic Greek holiday.
Right.
Their little girls are beautiful and they speak French, and everyone's dining outside and it's gorgeous light and everything. But there are little resentments and tensions that are building, and so they lull you into everyone's happy and cultured, and then like
they have
bam.
They have that nice walk through the town and everything.
Which
but then
recalls the first two films are walking and talking.
But then they get to the hotel and shit gets crazy.
Yeah, it's so realistic in the places they go with this. I know you guys both hated The Hangover Part 3. One thing I liked about it was it did go to darker places. This also goes to darker places and more substantive places, and the reality of trying to juggle, parenthood and marriage and kids and career, and something's always got to give, and they get that really, really right.
Yeah, well, because the first movie, it's two young people meeting each other and that spark and that whole sort of first contact, and then the second one, it's a reunion. They haven't seen each other for years, but obviously they've remembered each other and they've played a big role in each other's life at a distance. But now they've been together, and they're the day in and day out, and the who's making dinner and who's bathing the kids and who's who's picking up the socks, all that shit. And so I've been in a relationship about as long as that's about as old as these movies are, and I recognize a lot of that stuff. I think it feels very honest, and it's like we were saying about Fast and Furious 6. I think a lot of movies aspire to do this kind of thing, but it's hard to do this kind of thing well. And this movie is wall-to-wall conversations. I mean, it's all talk all the time, and in the wrong hands, that can just be deadly. But oh my God, this movie, I was riveted. I can't wait to see it again. It felt honest, and it was funny, and it was brutally true at times.
Is it
and no, not at all.
It's not depressing, but there are some moments of recognition that cut to the core of each other, and we'll recognize them as well, being with somebody for a long time. everyone's got these things that you keep inside you.
Well, actually, the person I went with, who went to see this with me afterwards, said, I have no one. So it might be depressing if you're single.
It's not a good date movie. Is it a good date movie? I mean,
wow,
it's
I don't know.
reaffirming eventually.
I think it's a good like established couple date movie, you know.
Yeah, but or an early couple when you're like, oh, thank God, like this is where we're
not
just
like
going to go
that.
home and tear each other's clothes off.
That's never going to be us.
Right.
Yeah,
Do you have to? Will people who haven't seen the first two can they pick it up, figure out?
There are enough sort of dropped.
But they're all worth seeing.
Expositional, yeah. They're all
great.
yeah. All three films are a lot of fun. I'm less into the first one. I like the second, third one more. But even if you're coming in cold, there's enough little moments of exposition where they kind of you find out what this character's histories are.
Do they kill any animals in this
no
movie?
giraffes
None.
get decapitated.
Right,
This
okay.
movie. Linklater said when I interviewed him that each one can stand alone. They're intended to function as standalone films, but if you have seen the previous two, then it is a richer and fuller experience. So.
Somebody on Twitter said, I want him to keep making these movies until they become amour.
That's what, and I don't think they want to do that. They need like 9 years apart from each of these things in order to have like life experience and just be able to get their shit together.
Yeah.
So I kind of hope this is it. This ends on a really perfect note.
I would be fine with them stopping, but I would also be fine with them continuing. I would trust
Would
them
it not
to
be interesting to see them in 10 years as,
no,
like grandparents or something?
Certainly it would be, yeah.
I would trust the three of them to know, because the three of them co-write these movies.
Yeah,
it's not just Linklater's thing. The two actors are co-writing. I would trust them to know if they've got something to come back to or not.
Yes.
All right, numbers.
Give it an 8. Give it an 8, yeah, because there's a section leading up to the big fight. The whole dinner scene I found kind of annoyingly smug in some ways, and it lulls you in, and maybe that's the point of it. But
I loved the older lady's speech about how she makes herself remember her husband.
That was a nice moment, but I think a lot of the banter about the gender roles I found a little self-indulgent.
Oh wow, okay.
So I wasn't a fan of that scene, but like everything else is, and they have such chemistry, they're beautiful together. So yeah.
I give it a 9.3. I think it's a great movie. It's smart and it's true. There are a lot of really good movies out right now. I mean, if you want big, loud, fun summer stuff, you've got Fast and Furious 6, you've got Star Trek, and if you want smarter, talkier, adultier, you've got Frances Ha and Before Midnight.
And Stories We Tell.
And Stories We Tell.
That's excellent too. Go see that.
I sat here last week. I hadn't seen Frances Ha, and after the review, I went that Friday, and I went and saw it, and it was fantastic.
Oh, good.
So there you go. So 8.7 for Before Midnight.
And it's like 97% in the tomato meter, so everyone likes it. Bye.